Okay, guys, I'm back with an update on my challenge to get a random product up to 100K in product sales. And so this is day 11 in the challenge since I started the challenge. Um, and, I've had some interesting experiences along the way, but, let me talk about kind of my current challenge right now, something that was stressing me out yesterday and kind of going into today, and that's the first big disaster in this product launch, which was I went out to get an email out to my email list yesterday and try to send a quick update to them. And this email list is absolutely critical to my product launch plan. Like I'm gonna explain in a little bit. Uh, it's essential to my whole seven-figure product launches process. It's not the only thing, but email is gonna drive like I estimate like 80% of conversions for any product launch. Um, that follows this kind of system. Email is important. So if you don't have a base for 80% of your sales, you're really gonna struggle. So you need email for that. So I went in to just send a regular update to my email subscribers that I've been building up over the last several months, and even before that. And I go out there to send them like a quick update yesterday, and then I actually happen to use the email marketing software I use is called System.io, and so I go in there. I'm trying to write my email, and then it actually tells me like this domain is not verified or something like that. Like you need to verify this domain, and beep, I'm not actually able to contact my email list. Somehow, the tech providers are telling me that the domain I was using, which is still valid, I still use that domain, and the email list I'm using, I'm not actually able to reach them anymore because somehow overnight, seemingly they've changed some things under my feet, and I'm flat on my back, and I got no way to contact my people. And I kind of need to get this email out because I have a plan that I'm gonna be sending updates to this email list. Like the entire launch is hanging on this email list. Like, and now I'm getting news that I can't actually send emails out. So, needless to say, I got pretty stressed, and um, I looked on their website and I found a bunch of like stuff that just wasn't very helpful, didn't address my problem at all. And I actually ended up sending them an email kind of out of desperation, like, hey, what's going on? I'm seeing this new thing. I've never seen this before. What are you guys doing? What? um, and it's like something I talked about in a recent video that I did talking about the simplicity of funnels. If you can have a funnel that's really simple, where you don't have too much technology, because these platforms are gonna trip you up, especially if you're a beginner. Like this is much more gonna be a problem, because the platforms can be complex to navigate. So the simpler you keep it, I believe, the better you're gonna be, especially if you're starting out. Now, as you scale, you can afford to bring in team members to handle certain aspects of your tech. So you can be more elaborate with your setup for like your tech, right? Um, but this problem can be resolved because fortunately, I got some data back from these guys today, and they walked me through like in their email that they have actually changed things up on their platform. And so they've made some changes, which unfortunately mean that the setup that I had set up long back years ago that has been working for me somehow is not nearly as valid as it should be. So they don't actually allow me to contact my contacts through this platform anymore unless I go through and verify my setup some more. Now that's gonna take time and everything, but at least I have some helpful information from these guys. As like I know, okay, I can understand. Um, but of course, you'd think they would send you a notification about this big change in their platform. Instead, this is pretty much the first time I'm finding out about this, and if they hadn't responded to me, then I wouldn't even know what's going on, or what changes have happened or have not happened on the platform. So if you are going out and you're starting your own product launch, keep in mind such things happen. You're gonna run into disasters like that. Hopefully, it's not right when you wanna, you know, have the big sale for your product. But understand such things, anticipate them, plan in advance, and never have deadlines that are too tight to, like, don't don't choreograph your launch uh, so tightly that you don't have space in there to allow mishaps like this to happen. Plan things out in a way where you can take some disasters happening. Like in my case, this is not a big deal breaker. Like I'm in a good place because I'm way out from actually trying to sell my product. So now let me go through like kind of like the strategy and what I'm working on doing right now. And so what I'm really doing right now with this email list, what I'm trying to get, I only have 200 and something, maybe 270 subscribers. But I'm not really trying to get to sell the book to these guys, like not right away, and certainly not like that's not the audience that's gonna like power like 100K in product sales for this. Like that's just a very small audience. So what I'm really looking to do is I wanna basically I'm gonna be working on giving away some free copies of my book to my email list. Right, this is a book that I'm gonna sell for $20, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it away for free to some of the guys on my email list. Um, and that way hopefully I'm gonna get some feedback from some of the guys on my email list. And so that's why I really needed to get some conversations going and contact my people, and then over the weeks that are over the coming weeks, I'm gonna be the strategy is I'm gonna be giving the book away to some of the guys on my email list, and then I'm gonna get some feedback. This is, if you will, it's kind of like product testing, but more so just to kind of get feedback from people, like, okay, what do they think really helped them in the book, if anything? What did they think? Now they might give me ideas about what they thought might be improved, but the book is already written. I'm not gonna rewrite it. Like this is pretty much the random product element of it is pretty much that. Like I'm not rewriting this book. It's launching as is. So whatever feedback I'm getting is really more so for informative purposes, just to let me know where the market is and what their impressions are of the book. But I'm not rewriting the book. It's done. It's done. It's written. I'm gonna sell it as is, because the ideas are my ideas. And in that sense, it's a faithful representation of my process and what I was thinking about when I was writing the book, based on my experiences. So I'm not gonna like retarget the book just because people think like, oh, it should have talked about this. Like, as an expert, I got a certain process, and the book is really just a documentation of that. But product testing in this case is really more just to get information from the market. What are their impressions of the book? What stood out to them? What was helpful to them? Maybe what was not so helpful to them? Just so I understand the strengths and weaknesses of my book as perceived by the market. So then I have so that way, when I write a sales letter for the book in the future, I can highlight the strengths, what people really liked, and I can address the perceived weaknesses. Like if people say, "Oh, this is a really short book," or this book didn't tell me how to do SaaS more, or should have talked more about this or that, then I can address that in my sales letters and things like that. Uh, but being in touch with my email list is gonna be critical, because that's where I'm gonna offer this book to my people for free, and those are the people that basically are gonna get first crack at taking the book for a spin. Um, and then what I actually do is, after the month is up and I've gotten hopefully some feedback in the month of June, then in the month of July and onwards, I'll actually be out there launching the book, and now trying to get book sales, and I'll actually be selling it not just to my email list, but looking to bring new subscribers. Um, because you're not gonna get to 100K in book sales with like an email list of 200 and something subscribers. Like, it's essential to keep growing your email list. So that's a process that you guys can use as well. Get some feedback from early users. Get some people that you trust, a tight knit circle of people that are subscribers to your content. Now, if you have a big email list, you can actually just send this out, not to everyone, but send it out to maybe 1,000 people, and get them to try out your product. Like, if it's an e-commerce product, like you're trying out a new fashion item, or you're trying out a new piece of sports equipment, email it out to like 1,000 people and say, hey guys, would you like to test my latest product? Collect feedback from those 1,000 people, however many of them signed up. You don't even need 1,000, like even 50 people, or 20 or 30, and then work with them over a month, see how they like it, collect testimonials, collect feedback from them. And then now you can actually write a really good sales letter based on the feedback that they gave you. Like, okay, this product is really great. Like, it works really well with, it's helped me in these ways. And then if they say the product is good, but if it's like a protein bar or something, like, but the taste is takes some getting used to, then you can address that in your sales letter. Now, if you're still in product development, you can actually adjust your product. If it's a big enough thing, like, if it's a food item and people are saying, um, like, it's not sweet enough, like it's just a little bit bitter, that's something that you can address in your product development. Like, you can go look at the formulation again and talk with your product people and say, well, can you guys make this product taste more consumer friendly, because people, maybe it's for kids and they need something a little bit sweeter. That's something that they can absolutely address. But if it's a product where you've already you can't really change it up, then you can address that just in your sales letter and say, well, this equipment, um, or maybe it's a piece of equipment that turns out to be really heavy, and that people are concerned about it. You can say, well, this equipment could be lighter, but we chose to make it heavier because it's safer for you guys, because it doesn't move around that much. Like, you can actually address that and explain why things are the way they are in your product. Now, don't make some lie up. I'm just saying, like, but you can address, like, um, like, if you look at, I'm a guitar player, right? And if you look at Gibson guitars, you look at the Les Paul guitar, it tends to be heavy. And a lot of beginner guitar players complain about it, but there's a reason why that type of guitar is heavy the way it is. And it's because that's how it produces a better sound than most other guitars out there. So that's like the reasoning behind it, which a beginner product buyer won't be aware of. But so that's where now, if you are writing the copy for your product, you need to be able to explain the decisions behind why you made the product in the way, and the trade-offs that you are dealing with, so you can address those kinds of things. So that's how you deal with that. Is you gotta be able to have a conversation, hear from the market, from your product testers, their impressions, and then you process them and you figure out what things are valid for you to change in your product and what things you're not gonna change in your product. Like for Gibson, I wouldn't want them changing the Les Paul to make it lighter, cause like, you know, I like the sound. I like this. Like that's the way to make that product. Don't make it lighter and then give us a crappy sound. Like we don't want that. Keep it heavy, even if beginners are gonna not buy. But that's because us people that appreciate the sound, that's what we like. And you know, a lot of people are gonna buy those guitars just because of based on the sound quality. So address what can be fix what can be fixed, but some things that might be seen as negatives you can't fix because they give you something else that's essential for your product. So that's kind of the way to think about it for your own product launch. And then for me, in the month of July, which is like a month from now, that's kind of when I'm gonna now be taking that feedback and actually putting up a good sales page and starting to drive traffic to this sales page and starting to actually sell and try to get sales of the book. So that's kind of where I am, guys. Remember, also, you're gonna have disasters along the way, but those disasters really don't matter. You just gotta address them. You can fix pretty much any problem that happens in your product launch. Don't be disappointed when you start running into problems early in a product launch. That just happens. That happens to everybody. That happens in any product launch. And I could tell you stories. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, come back into the ring. There's a long way to go, and you gotta get that product launched, and you gotta get that product to sell. So if you need some ideas to brainstorm just to get more product sales, you can book a free consult call with me, free brainstorm call. Link will be in the description. I also have some free resources that you can grab, and again, the links will be in the description.